it's Sandra. Welcome to another episode of Asexualise, my asexual life. This is a place to be for asexual entertainment, information, education, and more. So stay tuned, hit that bell icon now. So tonight's an entertainment night because I've got a movie review for you. So I went to see The Creator, and this is a sci-fi movie that's currently out now. So if you are going to see the movie, please don't watch this video because there will be spoilers. So The Creator centers around the fact that the US army type people, shall we call them, they are hell-bent on destroying artificial intelligence because some bomb went off, basically, nuclear explosion went off, and they blamed AI for it. And so they're deciding that they need to kill AI in order to stop the distinction. Distinction's not the right word to use. Extinction of the human race. So this person called Joshua Taylor is sent as an undercover person to infiltrate the artificial intelligence, basically. So artificial intelligence have developed ways to be simulants, or the creator has developed them to be simulants. So in a part of Asia, the human species has become friends with artificial intelligence, and artificial intelligence, different robots, for example, are being used with families for the greater good. And the robots are like friends to the families. They help them with things, they help them with jobs, and they help them with household tasks, as far as I understand. And they're like a companion for the families. So the robots have emotional, well, or shall I say, the humans have emotional attachment to the robots. And there's different types of robots. Some are very robotic like, they look like robots, they've got square heads and stuff like that. And then there's things called the simulants. Now, the creator made the simulants to look like humans. So you can tell the difference because they got like this round swirling mechanism in the back of their head. And because a bomb went off that you later found out was like the government's fault, it was some coding error. It wasn't actually artificial intelligence that the creator made that caused this nuclear explosion. I think it was a nuclear explosion bomb. Anyway, over Los Angeles. And because they know the creator's creating simulants, and that's to do with artificial intelligence. They've set this thing up called Nomad, which is the thing in the air, basically to drop bombs on this Asia part of the world, which still embraces artificial intelligence because they want to wipe the artificial intelligence out. But obviously, humans do get wiped out at the same time. And like I said, the robots and the simulants have become like friends and a part of society. They have burials for them. Like, well, they're more like rituals, really, where they put the robots in flames and stuff like that. But they do things like funeral type things where they, mourn them and put them on stretchers like they're a dead person. So there's a lot of respect held for robots and simulants there. But these robots, the ones that look like robots with square heads, they're very much respected and they act like part of the family. I thought it was good the way they'd done some of the robots really differently. So even some of the robots with the square heads, they had one that looked like sort of an elderly person walking with a kid. So that was like representing a grandparent and things like that. So I really liked the fact they had a wide variety of robots and simulants mixed in with them. And so anyway, Joshua goes undercover, and the army believe that Maya, who Joshua is married to in the movie, that her father is responsible and is the creator. So the creator is responsible for creating all these simulants that they want to wipe out because they want to kill the artificial intelligence off. and there's one particular weapon that can destroy all mankind because it's that powerful. And Joshua is married to this woman called Maya, and they believe that her father is a creator. And so the US Army basically raid Joshua and Maya's home, and they expose Joshua as the fact he's an undercover agent trying to just wheedle his way into the artificial intelligence world in order to take it down, kill it, basically wipe them out. And Maya didn't know that he was undercover. Maya thought he truly loved her. And he's like, this love is real. You know, I still love you. And she's like, but these people are like my family. You know, these simulants, should I say, the robots, they're like family to her. So he is trying to kill the thing that is like family to her, and she doesn't feel safe with him anymore. She doesn't know she can trust him. So she wades into the water, and Nomad, that the US Army has created to land weapons down to kill AI, has comes down as she's trying to get in the boat, and you see all these explosions, and she's pregnant with their child. And so he becomes very depressed. Joshua does spend 5 years pretty much doing nothing but watching TV and doesn't have any reason to live. And then what happens is part of the US Army say that Maya is still alive, and that if he wants to see her, they want him to go undercover basically again and to locate the weapon. And if he finds the weapon, he can basically be with Maya again. And, you know, they'll ensure that no harm comes to Maya, even though her dad's meant to be the creator who create the artificial intelligence. So they're like saying he can be with the woman he loves because they show footage of her who he believes is actually her. And so therefore he's got to go in, locate the weapon, and then she'll be saved and he can see her again. So he then goes to try and find Maya, and he's trying to find this weapon, and eventually he finds the weapon, but it's a child. It's a simulant child, a girl. And so he names the girl Alfie, but he knows it's a simulant because it's got the metal thing going round in its head. Meanwhile, the USA Army are trying to um find Joshua because Joshua to them has gone rogue. He is no longer on the good side because he ends up protecting Alfie and going with Alfie to try and find Maya. And eventually Joshua finds out from one of the simulants that Alfie is actually a simulant of Maya and his child. Maya took an embryo and basically did some work to it in order to make Alfie. So Alfie is no normal artificial intelligence robot. Alfie's got emotions and empathy, and if you like, is able to not fully feel things because Alfie's not human, but is able to express emotions and cry and stuff like that. And so Alfie is their child simulant. And so, of course, Joshua becomes very attached to the child. There's a simulant and forms a bond with it. And Alfie is able to cry. And when Joshua finds out this is basically his and Maya's simulant child, it becomes a completely different relationship. You know, he feels close to Alfie. He wants to protect Alfie. Alfie has special powers, so Alfie can literally use their hands to control, like remote control things like cars and TVs and stuff like that. So this is a superpower that's used throughout bits of the film in order to get Joshua and Alfie to safety, because Alfie is protected by Joshua. Joshua's on the run from the US Army. Joshua gets involved with the simulants and realizes they're not that bad and that he's made a mistake, thinking the US Army should destroy them, when Alfie realizes he shouldn't, especially now he's seen the child simulant. And the child simulant is taken with Joshua to his former commander, and the former commander has actually got into a relationship with a simulant. But unfortunately, because Josh was there with Alfie, they get found out, so the simulant ends up being killed, and his former officer ends up being shot at in the end. And the former officer then reveals that the reason the US Army invaded Joshua and Maya's home is because they believe Maya is the daughter of the creator. And so that's why they needed to get hold of her. And so Joshua is on the run, basically, from the US Army, from all the other people that want to kill the artificial intelligence. And Joshua's changed his mind. He changes his mind throughout the movie. And eventually he does find the Maya that he loved 5 years ago when the explosion happened. But the problem is she's been in a coma for 5 years. The simulants can't kill her because she is actually the creator. She took over the creator's job from her father when her father was no longer alive. And as she's in a coma, the simulants still can't kill her because she's still the creator. She took on the role of the new creator. And so Alfie is quite sad because Alfie the simulant cuddles up to his mother, basically, the human, Maya, and Joshua has to turn Maya's life support machine off. I thought it's such a shame that they didn't make Alfie bring Maya back to life, because at the end of the day, Alfie's got special powers. Like, Alfie can make cars start moving by themselves, just going like this, and can do things with TVs, and has got a lot of power. So I don't understand why Alfie could not just jumpstart Maya's heart, because clearly if he can put electricity, can put electricity in. Alfie's a she, by the way, yeah. So uh if she can put electricity into things, and make the TV start moving, make the car start moving by itself, take over vehicles and stuff like that. I didn't understand why Alfie couldn't actually use their hands to cause electricity shock and restart Maya's heart. I did not get that at all. I'm like, you've got all these superpowers, yet you can't even save Maya. You're not even trying. That was disappointing for me in the film, if I'm honest. I didn't like that part at all. I'm thinking, hang on a minute. You could start a heart surely with all the powers you've got. Because the former commander, before he died, he told Joshua that Alfie is the most powerful entity, if you like, in the whole of the world. And when Joshua found out Alfie was in fact a simulant of Maya, the simulant that told Joshua this, they said that Maya put all the love that they had between them, all those feelings, into the simulant. So that's why the simulant's so different and powerful, because Maya could have put evil and horrible stuff in there, but she didn't. She made the simulant like wanting to help people, be kind and caring like herself. So instead of Alfie being a weapon for the bad, Alfie's actually a weapon for the good, if you like, of humanity. So that's a nice twist that I liked. I did like the fact, there was a lot of kind of chasing going on of Alfie and Joshua throughout the movie. That kept the action quite interesting. I did, like I say, found that part of the movie, though, where Maya's life supports turn off and Alfie didn't do anything to stop that. I found that disappointing. I'm like thinking, come on. If you can send bolts of light, like lightning, bolts of electricity through a car, you can take cars over. They're supposed to have like remote control powers, But it's like, if you can do that, why can't you start Mayor's heart? It didn't make sense to me. It really didn't. I'm thinking, you can do these things with vehicles and stuff, which clearly must require electricity. So, electrical impulses, I didn't understand that. And the ending was so weird. So the ending for me that bit wasn't good. So one minute you're seeing Joshua and Alfie together, and the US Army sends this robotic thing to stop Joshua getting in the escape pod with Alfie. So, on Nomad, Joshua and Alfie were together. So Joshua's trying to blow up Nomad so that it can't kill the artificial intelligence anymore. And meanwhile, Alfie's sent to, I think, shut down parts of a ship so that they can't progress. Like a starship I'm talking about, not a ship on the ground. And so yeah, it's really weird. I didn't totally understand the ending. I understood that Joshua was trying to do things to the Nomad space station, if you like, to stop the artificial intelligence being killed because it was sending weapons out. But I didn't totally understand what Alfie was doing. I knew they were basically trying to disable a spaceship, as far as I can tell. And then in the end, it's really disappointing because Joshua and Alfie are separated, and Alfie's like, the door's stuck. And again, I don't understand how a kid with these amazing superpowers that can take over the TV, can take over big vehicles with people driving them and literally remote control stuff. I didn't understand why a kid can't do something with a door and force it open with some electrical current or something. I honestly didn't get it. I'm guessing the thing is that if it did something to the door when it was stuck, then maybe the door wouldn't shut again. They couldn't escape. But I felt that let it down. I'm like thinking, hang on a minute, you are capable of doing so much. And I know the powers are not fully realized yet, so they haven't got all their powers yet. But it still, to me, didn't ring true. I'm thinking, that's just such a cop out. You've got a door stuck. I mean, some humans can even figure out how to unstick a door. You know what I'm saying? It just was poor. And so I thought that Joshua was going to get blown up because basically the whole point of the escape pod was that Alfie and Joshua needed to escape together because Joshua had set a 10-minute alarm to blow up the whole of the Nomad thing. But instead, Alfie went off in the pod and Joshua ejected the pod so they couldn't be together. But then Joshua ended up going back down to Earth where the Asian people were. And then, sorry, the Alfie went back to the Asian people. So Alfie was fine, the skateboard, and Joshua, who I thought was going to be blown up, 1 minute it's on the Nomad station, and it's like, oh, I've got to let Alfie go, and you think he's gonna die, like his oxygen's gonna run out or something, and he's gonna die, but he doesn't. All of a sudden, he appears down on the ground, and there's a similar of Maya that Alfie stuck a memory stick in when before Joshua switched off the life support machine of Maya. He'd put a chip in her brain to take her memories out and her emotions and stuff. So Alfie saw that Maya had been made in bulk. There'd been bulk simulants made of Maya. And so Alfie managed to get one of these simulants of Maya and stick the chip in. And Alfie was like thinking it was going to be like a mother basically to him, but it didn't work. And then all of a sudden, when Joshua comes down to Earth, well, he's not, I don't think he's in Earth. I think the whole point is Alfie is in Asia with the other simulants and humans. And I think that Joshua is meant to be with the simulants, but I don't know where he was with the simulants. I thought he was on Earth as well. I didn't really get that because he ended up coming off this Nomad place that was being blown up and ended up being with the simulant Maya because the chip did work in the end and it activated the Maya simulant. And then he's kissing her like they're going to be in a relationship together, but it's going to be a simulant version of her. I just didn't really get the ending. It wasn't really the best ending, I didn't think. The film I liked. I think it's worth watching. I think it's good. I don't think it's the most amazing film I've ever seen in my life. I think there's better films, and I've made the storyline quite simple compared to the fact that there was lots of times that Joshua was being followed by people of the USA Army, and he had, he was like being like tracked well, people were trying to track him down the whole time, and when someone died off that he knew that was a colleague of his, then this woman who was in charge of the US Army mission, like on the ground with the helicopter and stuff, trying to chase him. She was always trying to chase after him with her team, who he used to work with. And whenever someone died, she'd get this headgear out and put a chip in them, and or put a chip in a simulant from a human that could read the last thoughts of the human before they died. So she'd put this headgear on, like put this like chip thing, and take their memories out and then shove this chip. It's like take their memories out with the headgear, put it into a chip, and then the chip goes into one of the simulants. The simulant's switched off, basically dead because it's been killed. They put this chip in the brain of the simulant. The simulant comes back to life for a bit, talks about the last few memories of the human because it can't put it back in the actual human itself, and then it dies off again. That was really weird. There's some weird stuff, but it's a sci-fi movie, very weird stuff that goes on. And it's just like at one point this guy dies who was a colleague of Joshua's, like a comrade, and he's dead, but they take the chip. So they put this headgear on him, get his last memories, and then but he's been dead for hours, so the memories are not that much, and puts it into this simulant, and the simulant wakes up and is looking at his dead body, and it's got the memories of the guy who's actually dead, but instead of the guy remembering what he last remembered when he's dead, he's seeing his own dead body through the eyes of a simulant. That was really weird and far out. I'm thinking, hang on a minute, you're seeing yourself dead, but you're meant to be remembering what you remembered before you died. Not how could you see yourself actually dead now when you're dead? Whereas those are you supposed to be memories collected before you're dead. That didn't make sense either to me. So I thought there was some continuity issues going on. I thought there's some very weird things happening. But I know it's a sci-fi movie, so weird things are meant to happen. But I thought this film was good. I think it's worth watching. I don't think it's the most amazing film I've seen. I think there are better films than that. And like I said, there were some things that I think really let it down. I'm like, you've got this really powerful being in Alfie, yet Alfie doesn't even try to save their mum's life, doesn't even think about it. Joshua doesn't even think about it. And Joshua gets separated from Alfie in the very end just because the door is jammed. It just didn't make sense. I just thought it was a bit of a cop out, to be honest. So the guy who plays Joshua, the actor Denzel Washington, it's his son that plays the part of Joshua. I thought he played the part of Joshua very well. I thought the acting was good in it. I did like the acting. I did like the chase scenes. I did like the action in it. But for me personally, I have seen better. I've seen more action elsewhere, and I've seen more continuity. I just thought some of it was a bit like, why, if Alfie's so powerful, is this happening? It just didn't really make sense. And Alfie wanted to help the people, but it's kind of like sometimes Alfie wouldn't do anything and just sit there, and other times then Alfie would do more stuff to help others. So it's just really, really strange. I just thought it was a little bit all over the place. So yeah, that's my honest review. There wasn't any sex in it, but when the film first starts, Joshua is in bed with Maya, and Maya's pregnant, so he's basically stroking her bump, and they're in bed together and they're intertwining legs. So it's a little bit like, you could say it's a little bit sensual, or I guess some people might find that scene a little bit sexy, but it's not sexy in the sense she's pregnant, but some people like that type of thing. It's just like the way they're twiddling toes round together. They're meant to obviously be sexually attracted still to each other, even though she's pregnant and stuff like that, and meant to be intimate kissing and stuff. So yeah, it was a bit strange. I would watch it. I think it's interesting concept. I think obviously with what's going on with AI technology these days, it was a very good twist in the sense that AI was actually friends and wanted to live in peace with humankind in this movie. Whereas it was the actual US Army that was provoking and attacking the innocent AI bots, if you like. So yeah, you found out that the USA Army is trying to kill the artificial intelligence, but the artificial intelligence wants to live in peace and harmony. They just want to exist rather than destroy humankind. They want to exist amongst it. But then there is a lot of stuff going on where you find there's a lot of robots and simulants being made in the masses. And so therefore it's like, what the hell is going on? I think they've left it open for another movie, to be honest, because Joshua ends up, like I said, kissing the simulant Maya. The body of the original Maya, all you see is it flatlining. That's what you see it doing. But it's like, do you know what I mean? Like, you don't see her body destroyed. So I think that's interesting. And yeah, and you see Alfie's fine and Joshua's fine in the end. And they've destroyed Nomad, which can't destroy artificial intelligence. And they said that Alfie's powers are only going to increase as time goes on. So I'm assuming they've left it open for another movie. I'm assuming. I think the next installment might be even better. I think it might be quite interesting if they did another one. And I would watch it. I think it's nice to watch. I do like it, but I just know there's better out there. That's what I'm saying. And I thought some of the things in it were like, would they didn't seem as they didn't seem as logical. Some of the things they just didn't seem as good of a conclusion as I would have liked. I felt that there was things that let the movie down a bit. But I love the fact they had simulants mixed with like real robotics, looking like robotics. So they had simulant robots and they had what I call real robots, traditional robots. There's ones with the square heads and that look like robots, if you know what I mean. Whereas the other simulants look like people. And I did like the fact that they'd made the artificial intelligence want to live among humankind, and you saw a lot of kindness from them. But obviously, if the simulants are being made in masses, you've got to ask yourself, like, has Joshua done the right thing by not killing the artificial intelligence off if they're just building all these simulants, like tons of the same ones? It is a bit creepy. So, yeah, it's a very interesting movie. I did like the fact that they didn't make artificial intelligence the complete enemy. They did switch it round to say basically you're your own enemy and you're just bringing us into it as a scapegoat. You're using AI to scapegoat your own internal problems and mistakes. So I thought that was a good concept. It's very interesting, isn't it, artificial intelligence? Because obviously we've got artificial intelligence in real life now, not just science fiction. I often believe that most things, if not all things, that science fiction can come true, because if you can actually create it, even in a fictional sense, most of the times you can create that somehow in real life. And that's why, obviously, we've got artificial intelligence in real life now, because it's always been, well, we know for years that it's always existed, right? But it's only nowadays that we're really starting to see it properly in everyday life, which is only going to get more huge as time goes by. And there is obviously always going to be evil where there's good. There's always going to be dark where there's light. So, of course, some people are going to use artificial intelligence for the bad. That's a given, really, however much people might want to deny it. But it doesn't mean to say that it's going to completely wipe us all out in the human race. Although, if you read the stuff on Wikipedia, there's a lot of stuff that starts talking about that, right? the Wikipedia in real life I'm talking about. So it can get a bit scary. So if you are of a sensitive nature and you get really freaked out by artificial intelligence movies and futuristic stuff, especially with what's happening now in the world, then it might be a bit too much for you to watch. But if you just like entertainment, you take it as entertainment, you take it as some thought-provoking stuff, and you take it in the fact that actually the artificial intelligence wants to live among humanity peacefully and be an aid to it rather than a hindrance, then you might get some benefit out of the movie in that way. So choose your mindset, I would say, before you go and watch the film. Know that it is a fictional film, but obviously it does bear some margin of thought in reality. And yeah, I'd love to know what you think. Did you like the movie? It's got some good reviews, I think. Some of the stuff I've seen online, they like it overall. They like the kind of aesthetics of it, the acting and stuff like that. So I didn't pay so much attention to the aesthetics of it, really. And so I wasn't really so focused on stuff like that. I wouldn't say it's the best aesthetic looking film in the world, but it's all right. It does the job and it does create some interesting thoughts. And it's interesting, that the simulants and humans become very emotionally involved with each other and they treat robots just like part of the family. So, yeah, post your comments down below. Love to know what you think. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon if you haven't already. And I'll see you soon in the next video live stream. Hope you like this movie review. Let me know what you think. I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye.